Hey guys, it is Arika Misha, and as you guys can tell by the title, this is episode number 10. And the title, you guys see the title of this video, and yes, today's video, I'm talking about when I had to tell my pastor that I was pregnant. And dealing with church hurt. Yeah. 20 years old, and you guys remember I will leave the link to my other spiritual videos so you can go back and watch those. And in my previous videos, you guys know I was telling you about how I had to tell my mother I was pregnant and how difficult that was. And then of course, with me being in the church, me being active in the church, and once again, I am a child of the King. I am a Christian. I live for God. I dedicated my life to Christ when I was 13 years old. And of course, over the years of my life, I have had to commit myself to Christ because nobody's perfect. And of course I have, I'm not perfect. And so I'm just sharing my spiritual journey with you guys and hope that it may help someone, anyone. I'm sacrificing myself to everything that you go through in life is to help somebody else. I always tell y'all that. So, all right, let's get to this episode. And my scripture today is Jeremiah the 3rd chapter and the 15th verse. And I will give you pastors according to mine heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. So by now I found out I'm pregnant. I've told my mother, which was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. Now with me being active in the church, I am in the choir. Part of the choir. The church is where I discovered my voice. I would kind of walk around the house and kind of hum things, but go to church, singing in the choir, and that's when I discovered my voice. And I thank God for that. And growing up, I just want to share this with y'all real quick. Growing up as a little kid, I said, oh, I was going to be a famous singer. I was going to be rich. I was going to be famous. But you know what? God said, yeah. And I ain't talking about no gospel singer either, no. I ain't talking about that. I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about like an R&B. Not really. I'm not really into rap like that. But I always said that I was going to be a famous singer. And yeah, not gospel. And ain't that something? Me growing up in the church, it should have been gospel. But anyway, y'all, that's a whole nother episode right there. But anyway, so yeah, I was in the choir. I discovered my voice, going to church, being a part of the choir. And I also taught Sunday school to the young kids, like, little 3-4-year-old kids. So I had a lot of things that I was part of the youth club. So, there were things that I was doing. I was active in my church. I was a part of a lot of committees and stuff like that. I would go to other churches and sing, perform at other churches. So all the local churches knew me. Now at this particular time, I'm not preaching. I haven't quite discovered that yet. That's going to come in later episodes where I'm preaching at different churches. Yeah, y'all. I'm telling y'all, my spiritual journey is a lot. It's a lot, y'all. I'm telling you, it's going to be about 50.4K episodes. But anyway, so yeah, I just, wanted to just let y'all know I'm in the choir. I'm just a lot of different things that I'm doing in the church. So, all right. So this particular day, it was Thursday. It was Thursday night prayer service. Thursday night after prayer service. Now my mom had told me, that night on the way to church, my mom was like, well, you need to talk to the pastor. I told the pastor. He already know you pregnant. She done called and told the pastor. Y'all know how I go. Y'all know how the mothers of churches, they got called to tell the pastor everything. Y'all know how I go. So she called him and told him that I was pregnant. She's like, oh, we got to talk to the pastor tonight after prayer service. Talk to him. He want to talk to you. I was like, oh, yeah, let me go ahead and get this over with. So anyway, that particular Thursday night after prayer service, I said, hey, pastor, how you doing? Gave him a hug. He was like, how you doing, sister? Da, 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 da. And I said, pastor, I said, I need to talk to you. He was like, yeah. He said, I talked to your mom. I wanted to talk to you too. I said, okay. So, we went to the side, and church people was greeting, how people do at the church. And he was sitting me on the side. He said, sister, he said, your mother told me you're pregnant. And I said, yes, sir. I said, yes, pastor. And he said, I'm gonna have to sit you down. Now, mind you, in my church, I've never saw anybody be sat down, but I heard from other churches. We never had nobody in our church, because the women in our church that got pregnant were married. And a lot of the young girls in my church that was, at that time, the young girls, they were like really young girls. And the ones around my age, they weren't. I was the only one that got pregnant. But like I said, I'm 20 years old now. I'm not 13, I'm not 12. I'm 20 years old. And I just want to make sure I reiterate that. I'm not 12, 13 years old. I'm 20 years old. I'm grown. Well, not really grown because I'm still living with my mom, but y'all know what I mean. I'm just trying to say I wasn't a little 12, 13-year-old kid. Like, I wasn't like immature. I was 20 years old, finna be 21. So anyway, he said, well, I'm gonna have to sit you down. And I said, yes, sir. And this is the pastor, and I said, yes, sir. And he said, well, you can't teach Sunday school no more. And like I heard about other churches doing it, but like actually being the one that is being done to, it hurt. It really hurt, because I love kids. Anybody who know me know I love kids. I believe kids are a gift from God. I believe kids are angels, and we should cherish kids and treat them with nothing but respect. Well, y'all know what I mean. Treat kids like angels and just take care of kids. Kids come first. I'm really big on kids. And I thank God for giving me the love for kids. I thank God for that deep love he gave me for kids. I do not play about my kids. I do not play about nobody else's kids. I was the one that kids came to my house because parents knew they were safe in my house. So I was that parent. So anyway, he said, you can't teach Sunday school no more. And I said, no more? And he said, well, right now you can't. And I said, okay, that hurt. And then he said, I'm going to have to take you out the choir too. And when he said that one really hurt, because I loved singing. Remember, I was going to be a famous singer, so I loved singing. And when he told me, he said that you weren't going to be in the choir no more, that hurt. I'd rather sing in the choir than teach the young people in Sunday school. I'm just keeping it real. But when he said that he was taking that away from me, because this is how I saw it. He was taking that away from me. He was taking me teaching the young kids away. He was taking away me singing in the choir. And everybody knew how much I love singing in the choir. I was the one that led the songs, not all the time, but I did the solos. I led the songs. I was going to other churches, traveling to other churches all around the district and the city and the state, singing, traveling. So that was me. I was that girl. So I had a passion. And like, okay, so here it is. You're taking that from me. So I can't even sing in my own church. I can't sing. And then he said, well, he said, you can't sing in any other church. And I was like, So you're taking me not singing at church. You just taking it all from me. And I'm like, wow. And it hurt. It hurt so bad. It hurt so bad. I said, this is how I saw it now. This is how I saw it. But see, things were different back in the day. Understand where I'm coming from. Things were different back in the day. If you weren't married and you got pregnant, they sat you down in the church. I'm not saying all churches did that. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about, when I speak, I'm talking about my church, what happened in my church. I'm not talking about nobody else's. I can't get involved in none of that. I can only talk about me, my life, what I've been through, what I've experienced. So, they sat you down. You weren't married, you getting pregnant, they sat you down. They ain't play that. So, when he told me that, I was like, wow. So everybody gonna see I'm not in the choir when the choir up there singing. Everybody gonna see I'm not traveling to sing. Everybody gonna see that I'm not teaching the young people no more. Everybody gonna see, I'm telling you, I felt ashamed. I felt embarrassed. I'm like, man, here it is. I'm already dealing with being pregnant. I'm already dealing with this. It's already enough. It's already overwhelming, Here it is, I got a baby on the way. I gotta take care of a child. Like, I'm already overwhelmed with all this praying and talking to God, asking God to help me deal with this every day. And now I got to deal with the fact that, okay, so now I can't sing in the choir anymore. Now I can't teach the youth anymore. I got to deal with that. Things are so different back then. And so I was like, okay. I hadn't got attitude. I got an attitude. I'm like, okay. You done took everything I do in the church, you done took that away from me. Okay, now here it is. I'm telling y'all how I'm feeling. I'm like, wait, this is my church home. You are my pastor. You're my spiritual father. Like, here it is that I'm already dealing with something. I'm already dealing with this pregnancy. And what I need now with everything that I'm dealing with mentally, I need my church family around me to help me get through this mentally and spiritually. But y'all take everything away from me that I do in the church. Like I said, things were different back then. Things were different. Church ain't tolerate a lot of stuff they tolerate now. Maybe that's the problem. But anyway, so I, chucked my chin up. I said, okay. And I was like, all right. I told him, okay. And he was like, I know you're upset. He's like, I know you hurt. I said, yes. I wasn't going to leave that meeting without telling him how I felt. And I said, yes, I'm upset. I said, you know how much I love singing? I said, I love the kids. I said, but you my pastor, ain't nothing I could do about that. So, and he was like, I don't want you to get upset. I don't want you to get upset about it and leave the church. I was like, no. I hadn't been there forever. Like, this is my church. This is my church home. And I was like, nah, it'll be all right. And then I said, so when can I go back, get back in the choir? When can I, oh God, my head bend, y'all. I was like, when can I get back in the church? When can I get back in the choir? When can I start back singing with the choir? When can I start back teaching the young people? When can I do that? And he said, after you have your baby, he said, we'll talk about it. And I was like, okay. I just got up. I was like, all right, because my mom was waiting for me anyway. I was like, all right. I was like, thank you, Pastor. Have a good night. And he know I was mad. He know I was mad because later on that night, he called me on to my mom I was mad. And like I told mom, yes, I was mad. And I told mom, I said, they're just going to take everything I do in church from me. They're going to take everything that I do for God from me. Everything that I love from me. But that's how it was back in the day, y'all. So I chucked it up. I sucked it up. It is what it is. But I'm telling you, it hurt. It hurt so bad. It hurt so bad. And when it really hurt is when the choir went up to sing and I wasn't up there. Yeah. That's when it really hurt. That's when it really hurt. But you know what? Everything that I have been through has made me the person who I am today. Things were different back then. Like I said, I'm not saying anybody was wrong, anybody was evil. I'm not saying that. I just know how the church was back in the day. I just know how they were. I know how they were. I know what they tolerated, what they didn't tolerate. And so it hurt. And that was my first experience with church hurt. I was mad at the church people. I was mad at everybody. And I was like saying I wasn't going back to church no more. And I told God I ain't going back no more. I was like, how these your people, God, these your people kicking me out the choir, kicking me from teaching to you. These your people, God. I was like, these people that I grew up with and the pastor that I've been under, how you gonna let him do this to me? And God said to me, he said, I've been talking to you. He said, God said, I've been talking to you for years, telling you to stop doing what you was doing. He said, I kept telling you. He said, and I kept telling you, I kept coming to you saying what you're doing ain't right. God said, you say you living for Christ, but y'all have to understand. I understand now. I wasn't out there in the center in the world doing whatever, drinking, smoking, partying, doing my thing. I was saying I was a child of the King. I was living for Christ. So as living for Christ, we are supposed to live a certain way. Are we perfect? No. But if we're saying our yays are supposed to be yays and our nays are supposed to be nays. Yes means yes, no means no. If you say you're living for Christ, you got to be living for Christ. You ain't perfect. Yeah, you're going to mess up. We've all done it. But no. And that's what God was telling me. He said, for years I spared you. For years. He said, for years I covered you. He said, for years you kept doing what you was doing and I covered you. He said, I kept letting you get away with it for years and years. And God said, no. He said, I can't continue to cover you. And you willfully sin it. You keep doing it. You willfully. You keep going back doing it over and over. God said, I can't honor that. And that's what he said. He said, I can't honor that. He said, so you know what? He said, you made your bed hard. Now you got to lay in it. And that's what God told me. Y'all know I'm reiterating it. And I say, you know what? You're right, God. I'm going to suck it up. I'm going to suck it up. Because what don't kill me, make me stronger. And that's what he told me. He said, learn from this. Learn from this. That's what I want you to do. And I learned and it hurt. It hurt so bad. It hurt, boy, to not be up there singing with the choir. And when the choir went to other churches to sing, I couldn't go. And then the young people, the kids coming up to me, oh, why you not teaching us? Why you don't teach us no more? And you know what? I ain't lied to the kids. I didn't lie to the kids. I was mad and I was angry at the church, but you know what I told the kids? I told the kids the truth. I said, I can't teach y'all no more because I'm pregnant. I got pregnant. I did. I told the kids the truth. And you know what? I told them that out of anger. I was mad, you know, because the age that I was teaching, these kids were like 5 or 6 years old. But how I said it was, I was like, Miss Erika pregnant. She finna have her own child. And they just kind of looked at me like, so what? You have your own child. Okay, so why you can't teach us no more? That's just how they looked. They didn't say nothing. They just kind of looked at me. And, you know, I that's how I said it. I wasn't, like, nasty. I said, Miss Erika's pregnant. She finna have her own child, her own baby. I said, so, you know, I can't really teach y'all right now. That's just how I put it. But I did let them know, hey, I'm pregnant. That's why I can't teach y'all no more. I didn't say, the pastor sat me down because I was pregnant. I ain't do all that. Now, I ain't do all that. Now, I was angry and I was mad now. But I ain't do all that. But all right, y'all. That is enough. I've shared enough for today. All right, guys. Stay tuned for the next episode. This is Erika Misha. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on all my social media at Erika Misha. And don't forget, guys, knowledge is power. Thanks, guys. Bye.